Welcome back to the hottest marriage show known to man in the world, everywhere. Internet, broadband, any form of communication in the galaxy, Milky Way, and all of those other candy bars up there. I am too much, and I am with the better half. Do. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm I'm trying to I've gotten into the practice of sitting on a heating pad. It's not that cold. I mean, it's cold if you're like standing outside, but it's something about sitting on a heating pad that I have really gotten into, and so I was trying to get it together and not distract the intro, but I did it anyway. Hello.
Did you distract the intro?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm doing well.
You definitely moving that mic a whole lot.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, but how'd you sleep?
I didn't sleep well. Since we've been looking for, well, yeah, since we've been looking for a house, I've had a hard time sleeping. Like I'll sleep for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and then I wake up, and then I have to be up for a few hours before I go back to sleep. So it's really broken up sleep lately.
So, typically when people aren't getting the sleep that they normally get, it affects their day. Has it affected yours in any way?
No, I feel like my productivity is the same as far as work.
What about your mood and the way you feel on the inside? Do you feel tired?
I was about to say, I guess you better just say what my mood is like. But no, I feel fine. I wear down toward the end of the day, obviously, but it's like the adrenaline is pushing me every time. Like I'm decorating houses as soon as I see them and trying to stop myself.
I guess that could be pretty exhausting.
Heck yeah, I'm tired.
So I guess a warning to anybody who's looking to purchase a home the way that they want it. It could be a little tiring.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, it's I can say this. Whatever we get will be appreciated because it'll be for us.
Yeah.
So I guess since the last episode, we've had some things that we haven't disclosed. And I know she was kind of waiting. She didn't know how, I guess, our household is a little lighter these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our nephew has gone back to his home in Louisville. He's matured into a young man and planning to contribute and help that household in Louisville to become productive and successful. So he wants to be a great big brother and a great son to his mother. So the household has changed, and it's changing in so many ways. Originally it was off guard, but we got that. We understood the message, and to appreciate what he's done for our household, we're thankful. But I was wondering if that change may have played a role because your sleepy is definitely a lot more broken than it was. It wasn't like it wasn't broke before, but it's really like tampered with.
Yeah. I miss him. I miss that dude. I understand. He has great things that he needs to be and do, but I miss that dude.
Yeah, so shout out to Darius. I've grown so much, and he's seen. I was telling Kanika yesterday that, or the day before, that he's seen 3 versions of me. Like, saw the me before, like when he was like 2.
John was so ridiculous then, y'all.
And then he saw me in Abu Dhabi, and then he saw me here, and like he has, out of all of my nieces and nephews, has the best set of eyes to what I used to be and what I am now. 'Cause I think about when I talk to my nieces and nephews and what do they actually see, I have no idea. But he definitely will see that later in life. But what do you think he gave you?
Darius definitely gave me patience that I did not have to have with our kids. Like our kids, yeah. With Darius, he required me to really, really be detailed in the questions I asked and how I asked them because he was always trying to find a way out. And he would, like with the kids, with Day and Dallas, I never really had to. It was like, did you do this? And then I was like, yeah. Well, you know that this. And then the conversation goes on. You ask Darius, and he be like, nah. Like, Darius, you were the only one in the house. I don't even know how that happened. I wasn't even there. And so you have to, he definitely taught me to be more detailed in my interrogations. Because it was hard to catch him in his stuff. Boy, he would get wrapped up in a story.
Because you know what I realized, maybe just now or prior, but what he does is he focuses on the first thing that you say that does not agree with the story, and then you're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. Instead of the rest of the story being right, it's like this one thing made it wrong.
And he can even be telling the truth. It's just that it's so, the way he tells the story. Yo, I came into the house one day and I was in the house. John comes in. He was like, "Can I speak to you for a minute?" And I was like, "Oh God." So I come to the front and he says, "Tell your aunt what happened today." And he was like, "So I stayed after school and then like she had told me like in the first 5 minutes how to do it. And then I thought I knew how to do it because I had to take a test. And then she left and then I didn't know how to do it. And then I didn't have a calculator." And I was like, what is happening? Like the story was so, I was like, who? Like, where are we? What's happening? And so the way he told the story, it just sounded crazy to me. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And because there was previous times where he's told stories, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. This is one of these times I have to just say that doesn't make any sense. This child emails his teacher and she's like, "Oh yeah, da 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 da," and confirms his story. Now his story sounds crazy, but when the teacher was able to respond back and say the main points, it made sense with what he said. So it's like sometimes it's just that he couldn't communicate. So the patience to know, sometimes the kids don't have the words. I feel like with him, there were times where he felt like his answer wasn't good enough and it was going to get him in trouble anyway. I was late to class. Why were you late to class? It wouldn't be good enough to just tell us he got distracted in the hallway with his friends. So he would say something else.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah. And it could be just as simple as, well, I understand what it's like when you're in the hall and you with your friends or whatever. Like I told him, he changed classes recently and he was really upset because he wasn't going to be in some of the classes with his friends anymore. And he's very social. I might have said this before. And so it really upset him that he couldn't see his friends. So when he was tardy a couple of days that following week, I understood he was in the hall with his friends. And at one point I said, "What is going on?" He said, "I just wanted a little more time to talk to my friends before class." And I was like, all right. I said, but, then we talked about what would make more sense. How could we get this done? Or how could we set up something different? And he started hanging out with his friends after school, which I don't think he thought that was possible before because we're not strict, but I want to know who you're with. So I think that he began to trust that his answers were enough. They were kid answers and try those out because the truth is better than a lie.
They were kid lies.
Yeah, they were kid lies. They were horrible. But so just to get back, he taught me patience because I realized that they're not always able to communicate what they mean in that moment. And just because it doesn't make sense to us in our adult mind, that was the other thing. I might have been sneaky as a kid, but if they says something to me, I know Day is not me. So when she says something and it sounds a little too innocent and I could have been doing a lot more in that moment, I realize that she's not me. And I think with Darius, I know that he's very mischievous, but he's also not us. So we couldn't project what we thought we would have been doing back then on him. Yeah. So just sitting there and realizing that these kids are different kids. They
completely
need
different
patience. They need you to listen. They need you to help them sort through their stories sometimes, because sometimes they can't get it out right. So
yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate him for that. And the love, I'm telling you, you could be so frustrated with him, and it's like you come back to him and you're like, I'm sorry if it felt like, I was yelling. I'm really frustrated. And he'd be like, it's all right, auntie. And he really meant it. That, when I say that's a love bug right there, I miss you, Darius.
Just thinking about the patience aspect, like I had to learn a lot with him, period. But it was necessary because when I came back from Abu Dhabi, in my head, I was prepared. I was focused. I was like gonna watch my tone and my mannerisms, and he definitely tested all of those, even up until before he left.
He did.
And and I just keep like thinking, I'm like, how did I not have the patience? And I realized that I was acting more of a father than an uncle with him, and it was really difficult. And I didn't realize that until he was gone. And I was like, I hope I can be his uncle now, because as an uncle, you want to have some type of playful relationship. But with him, it was very difficult because I didn't know what he was going to take serious. So it was like me doing a whole lot of correcting and telling him I'm sorry for how it sounded. This is what it means. And trying to help him understand, because I remember, as an adult, not being able to communicate and people take you the wrong way. And then however they take you, you just run with it. He's like, all right, y'all take it this way, I'm going to take it that way and go even further. Instead of like, hey, that ain't really what I meant. And I hope that, through his time here, that can get him a time to like think. And that's another thing I wanted to say. I realized being in an environment where you're worried about just basic things, you don't have time to think, even as adults. Like when remember I told you in the book, I'm listening to this one book, and it was just talking about how people who don't think work, and the people who think even less works more. And it's like, if you're not taught to think, or things around you seem like chaos and you don't have time to think because you're just moving from one place to another, it's very difficult to make good decisions. And that's what I'm realizing, that I was completely blessed along my journey, because a lot of my thinking, I just ended up on the right side of history. And hopefully, not hopefully, I know he'll end up on the right side of history, but I just don't want him to make those pitfalls that, I was subject to, or the ones that I was lucky enough to escape, that he doesn't, fall trap to. So, inshallah.
Yeah. I told John I'm trying to, like growing up, my aunts and uncles were very hands off. Like we saw them when they came to visit, or we went to visit them. My aunts and uncles did not discipline us. I mean, my parents were always around, so I mean, if somebody needed to knock us out, they were going to do it. But my aunts and uncles never disciplined us. I don't remember a time where they yelled at me or anything. I don't remember a time where they had to sit me down and have a real
I think because you were good.
Well,
You didn't get into like things.
no, I think that's the role that, I mean, even my mom as an aunt, I've never seen her do that to my cousins. It's just been, our relationship with our aunts and uncles has been really like, you just enjoy them during your visit, and that's it. And so with my nephews, from my older brother, I never really, I don't think I ever disciplined them. I used to like direct them if I had to, if they misbehaved, but I would never discipline them. Um, that was Kari. So, I left that to the parents. I wouldn't let them be crazy, but I left that to the parents. I think with because when we initially, when John's sister moved to Atlanta, she lived with us, with Darius, as she was transitioning, and it was like John. It was almost like we were like a 3-parent household. We were all parenting all the kids in the house.
Yeah.
And it's been hard to shake that. Like when we went to Abu Dhabi, it was natural to think that Darius would go with us just as naturally as it would be for him to stay with his mom. And then when we sent him back, like, I was upset because I couldn't get in contact with him to figure out where he was at certain times. Like, I haven't talked to him in a while. Where is Darius? And him coming here, it was really easy to get into the parenting all over again. So now I have to learn how to just be an aunt. And that's crazy to me because my entire upbringing and way of being has always been just being an aunt. It's just with this particular kid because his older brother, he was only, in Atlanta for a little while before he went back to Kentucky. So I never really had that I really had an aunt relationship with him. There was no parenting. And then Lainey and Dakota, by the time they came, she was out of the house. So he was just that one little shining star in the middle that got this crazy energy from me. Like, but now I have to let it go.
It was crazy that I'm listening to you and I'm like, wow, we did like kind of change the roles where I'm thinking of my aunts and uncles. They weren't like that either. And I think when Damien came, I think it kind of changed. Damien is older. He was born in 95. So I spent a lot of time with him when he was little. And that just changed my mind. I was like, in my head, that's what an uncle's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So
you were very much so. Yeah, uncle to him.
Yeah. And you know why? I was an uncle to him because I was really an uncle to him. Like, I didn't think that he needed help, like guidance.
Oh, because at the time, your dad.
Yeah, but even past that.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at like my sister was as young as she was. I was looking at her like she was a mother, but didn't think that. I thought, like when you become a mother, you just got these you just turns on, you know what I'm saying?
The powers ignite.
So when I realized he was no longer like the nephew is when he moved to Atlanta. And then it was like me more of trying to be of a father role, trying to prevent him from looking like he was going down dark alleys.
Oh yeah. He was too old for me to do that.
I know. But even he was too old for me to do it, but I did it because if I didn't do it, I felt like it could have got really ugly, like, because he didn't have any guidance as far as male aspect. So it was definitely, I think that's when it happened. Mm-hmm. And then Darius, Delaney, and Dakota, it was just, well, you know what? It just became all kids.
It did. But one of the things,
and when I say hold up, all kids, I mean all kids, like other people, our friends' kids,
everybody's kids. At one time, we had like 7 kids, 6, 7 kids at the house, and they were all 7 or under. That junk was crazy. But it makes me think back to like when you enter into it. Look, when we moved to Atlanta, I had no idea our life was going to turn the way that it did. Like my growing up, I don't know if I've ever said this. I remember I have a cousin that I loved. She was like, I wanted her to be my older sister, and she loved my mom. And I remember one time she was like, Aunt Bertie, I'm having trouble, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, all right, she was like, I need somewhere to go. My mom was like, all right, I'll get you a hotel room. Right? Some people would be like, oh, okay, just move in with me, or you can stay here overnight. It's not how my mom thought. My mom was like, and I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and she was like, I don't remember that, but I do, because I used to tell people all the time, my mom would let me stay the night over people's house, but she did not, we did not want people in our house. And it's just, I think that she created a boundary, because parts of people's lives, friends, family, all the other stuff can feel really chaotic. And my mom was really trying to maintain this. Our house was our place of peace. And like, she loved my cousin, and she was like, yeah, it was like no hesitation. But you weren't going to find in our family that we took on people. And so when we moved to Atlanta, that wasn't even thought for me. I know in college you said you had a friend that just stayed on your couch.
I had a few friends.
Like, I would have never done that. It's I always kept everything very, very separate, because my house was my escape from everywhere else. And when we got down to Atlanta, the decision of your sister coming down to Atlanta and her living with us, I was like, okay, this is different, because I'm not used to that. And then
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I wasn't. And then it was like when my brothers came, then I was like, oh, this is how you do it. Like, I would have never even thought that.
This crazy. Like, so I was trying to figure out where I got it from, but I told you when I was little, my family we had my mother's youngest brother and his family come stay with us. Mm-hmm. They were in there like 2 or 3 months max, and they moved out. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen that either. And then when I got to college, when we first got into an apartment, me and my roommate, when somebody got in trouble or they was in a bind, just like we didn't even talk about it. It was just like, stay here. Mm-hmm. So after one person did it, it was another person, and then it never felt like they were overstaying their welcome to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I definitely know when I feel like somebody's overstayed their welcome. They never made me feel like that. And as I got older, to me, I was just thinking about like certain things that stick out, like it takes a village or whatnot. I just thought like that's what you're supposed to do, and when you say that that's your peace, I never had that, to know that it was always like, if you can do it, you can do it. Mm. So it was not like somebody was taking something from you. It's about helping. So.
Yeah. Well, and even when my brothers came to town, like they stayed a few months with us, and then they kind of went on about their way and established themselves. I didn't see a problem with that. It just I just didn't understand it at first. I had never been put in a position until your sister came. So I think that just opened I would have never hesitated to let my brother stay for a few months. But shoot, at one point we had Dave's godfather and Kari. And then when my younger brother came, then he was there. And it was like, okay, I got used to kind of having the door open. And so then it wasn't really as much of an issue for me to do it again. It was like that was something that I didn't expect though. When we got together, when I met John, he talked about his sister, but he didn't talk about her much. And his youngest sister, and when we got to Atlanta, before she came, he started talking about her more. And then she got there and she was like fully injected into every part of our life from the morning to the, like when I say.
But you know, that was me learning her too.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know my sister. And it's so crazy. I still look back and be like, dang, I didn't even know that was who she was at that time. So like that was new for me too. So you learned more of her than I did.
Yeah. When we were like sister wives, it was crazy. Let me explain. So I was working and she would stay at home with Day and Darius, and I was pregnant with Dallas. And she would take care of them all day while I was at work, and I would get home. I think I would get home before you because I lived closer. I worked closer. And so she and I would talk, and she really wasn't a sister-in-law. She was a sister. And when John would get home, we would sit on the couch and we would back and forth tell him about our day as if we're both telling our husband about our day. She's telling him about the kids. I'm telling him, how the baby's doing, what we're doing. And I was like, we was the weirdest, the weirdest looking thing in the world. But, and then when I had Dallas, she moved out not long after that. And then she was watching all three of them for us. And so she was helping to raise Dallas too.
Yeah.
So it was like the whole, now that she was also an auntie that corrected, like we all stepped out into a different role as aunts and uncles because we were all raising the kids, together. It was really different. It's definitely not, I guess what I'm thinking about is, when you get in a relationship with people or you marry somebody, do you really know the extent of how you're going to be involved with that person's family?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that we're talking about this because I never in a million years worried about your family. Like, when I say that, I mean, like, I always felt like I knew how to communicate with the mother and the father. And I never thought that I would hang out with your brothers or anything like that. But I never thought it would, like, be with what my family's done to you.
They haven't done anything to me, but
no, I'm saying
the impact is different. Yeah,
it is completely different.
The relationships are different.
And it's come almost like in my head, I'm like, that's how life is supposed to be. Even if things are good, you're supposed to have a relation. Like if everything was on the same playing field and we didn't have to worry, we would be really happy. You know what I'm saying? But being that things are not on the same playing field, things are a little stretched. You get stressed out in certain situations. But in my head, I really did think that's what family was supposed to do. So me putting that on you, I thought that was just something that all families did. That's the honest to God truth. If I knew that you didn't expect, I would have never put that.
Well, I couldn't have expected, like, there wasn't enough talk about your sister to think that she was going to all of a sudden be so, like, enmeshed in our lives.
Well, no. When I say I didn't know that it was going to look like that. I'm saying I thought that, like.
That was regular stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see. Yeah. But it was
years later.
But it was cool though, because I would just, I was thinking about how the type of family that we are when nobody's in the house, and then when somebody's in the house. Like, if these people weren't in the house, we'd probably be really boring. We would either like we just started like over the like last 4 or 5 years to like really get interactive inside the house, like on a regular night, and play or watch something regularly, not just like a weekly thing. But with them, there was always going to be something. You know what I'm saying? Because the personalities were just completely different.
Super colorful.
Yeah, for sure. It was like their box of crayons came equipped with
128 colors.
Yeah. when the box of crayons only come with 4.
We were 4, they were 128. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah. So getting in a relationship, knowing the family. I mean, even if I'd have known your family beforehand, I still would have been around. But
I don't know. So when I say that, I'm saying like I think that would have shortened the curve of your your tunnel vision of just seeing me. You'd be like, what the hell is
like, this is a lot.
What is he hiding? You know what I'm saying? Like wow. Like I mean, because I would say that, you know, as much as I would thought growing up, I thought my family was regular. I didn't realize how dysfunctional. When I say dysfunctional, I mean like it's not like your regular cookie cutter idea of a family. Like it was a lot of moving parts that were not even supposed to be in the machine.
Yeah, well, regular is relative.
Well, no, when I say that, I'm just saying like
I get what you mean though.
I didn't.
So to you, you were walking around saying this is regular.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the biggest disconnect is realizing that it wasn't regular. And you know, and how you just, that's why I say you always end up on the right side of history. Like you telling me after all these years that you didn't know. You didn't even you didn't dispute it. You didn't say hey, shouldn't we talk about this?
No.
just appeared.
I mean, how you gonna tell somebody that, you know, their family, they want to help their family, you gonna be like, nah, we can't do that.
Well, you know, I don't think I would have handled it the correct way then. But I totally understand why I wasn't supposed to handle it the way that I would have, because, you know, like your life, you know, our life changed and yours changed because I said it was going to change and say, hey, you know, our life is about to change now. And then not only that, it changed several times after Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, it did.
You know, and that's different. Like to grow like that. So yeah, so I thank you. You are appreciated from the bottom of my heart. You know, I often wonder what people think. Like, you know, I tell you when I converse with people and they say that they're proud and all of this, I'm like, I don't really know what I did, but if you think about it, like we have helped people along the way.
Yeah.
And it was only for the right intentions.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that when you do things like that, it makes people feel like I can do more.
As in them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, like, because, I mean, we did a whole lot for a lot of people to be doing more. You know, so.
I hear you.
I enjoy that little reflection. I did. I didn't know it was going to go that way. Mm. But shout out to Darius and his transition back into Lewis Squad South. You know.
True.
Anything you want to cover before we get out of here?
No. Look, no. I'm so tired.
You still tired?
Yeah.
Well, you know, today was a snow day. Those of you that didn't know, all the snow had almost completely like melted.
It was wet and rainy out.
And then it like froze. Like just imagine all the snow. So it's just sitting on top of the grass, and then the temperature drops, and then it iced, and then the snow falls. So when you walk on the sidewalk, there's like a sheet of ice up under it from all of the snow melting to just freeze again.
Yeah. So people are dying. No, they're not really. But the neighbor, she said, I fell twice in the parking lot. I'm like, yeah, we got to.
Oh, so yeah, I want to talk about that. I thought that was funny. What? So yesterday, no, not that she fell, but yesterday when this was happening, I almost fell like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, I need to get in the house because I should have fallen by then, you know. And I was like, I'm using all my blessings from not falling on this hard ground. I was like, you know what? We're not gonna lose these blessings this way because
we need these blessings for the lottery. We don't have time to play in the parking lot.
Not at all. Parking lot it got too many blessings yesterday. I was like, golly. And when I want to tell you when they're blessings, because when I can tell you that if I would have fallen, it would have really hurt. Like, it wasn't like even when I was catching myself, it was like, oh my God, that was going to be ugly. Like, I did it like 3 or 4 times. I was like, got to take Kingston inside.
Kingston, we got to go ahead. Well, I'm glad that you made it safe.
Yeah. And, yeah, I just wanted to give that chuckle. But I want to give a shout out to Dallas's godfather, the owner of Mile, the brand. He's doing really nice things with that athletic gear, and I'm proud of that dude. Any brands you want to give a shout out to?
Well, no different. Mile, I actually wore. Look, I stole Dallas's pants. So first of all, the tech suits, I love those. I think I bought 2 for every person in the house. And Dallas is growing so fast that his godfather sent him some extra tech suits, and he cannot fit the pants anymore, but I can. So I was like, hey, so hand me those pants. So I've been, enjoying more of the Mile stuff, which I'm telling y'all, I love these pants. So they're so comfortable. So shout out to Mile.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA, get after that action, or that action will get after you.
Moob.